Good day everyone. I've been meaning to show you this sketchbook. This is a monolith sketchbook, which I believe should be made in Malaysia or Singapore, I'm not really sure. So this is one of my main sketchbooks from last year. The problem with this sketchbook is that it couldn't take too much water. As you can see, some of the pages are torn because sometimes I love to use a lot of water. So let's start from the beginning. This is a painting that was inspired from one of my artwork from the university. The thing is, you can see there are some hard edges on sky, which I didn't intend to. I wish I did a full wet on wet on the sky, but nonetheless it turned out okay, I think. Next is a scene from Amsterdam. Probably looks like any other place in Europe. Anyway, it's a little too cartoony. The thing is, I used some ink tints from Durban to create this piece. As you can see, this is really true. I found some Indian and halal food places while walking the streets of Amsterdam. I went there during weekends from work. So another page is just a scene, a snowy scene, I suppose. This is a random painting from my imagination. It's supposed to be some city. As you can see, there's some buildings and mix of like trees perhaps, and it should be like a winter night. And this is just some swatches from one of my German paints. Call it Cremer Pigmente. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway. So this is a tree I made from the paints that I have from my set. And then this is supposed to be a forest night sky. It's inspired by some of the photos I saw from the internet. It's supposed to be a night sky with stars and some evergreens. And it's supposed to be my husband. It's not symmetrical, unfortunately, because I painted him while he was moving, but you can see the eyes are his. And then I have here another page of supposed to be a sunset sky. And unfortunately there was a bloom because I used too much water on my brush. Now I've learned. And then this is a scene in New York long time ago, maybe about 9 years ago. It was a winter morning and I woke up and it wasn't snowing, but it's freezing. So I used some inks here, some India inks, and some colored pencils. I use my polychromes to put on the details. It's a little cartoony, but it's just a study about washes and some, I just want to use my inks, that's why. And then this is just a random sketch from one of my cheaper watercolor set, which I believe should be my pencil watercolor set. And some calligraphy using my brush pens. And here's some swatches from my Criticolor hard pastels. They turn out to be not so good when you do put water on them. Or maybe I just need to experiment more. And this is another page of my Cremer Pigmente swatches. As you can see, I did a mix of like, it should be cobalt blue and one of the reds in a set. And I came up with some of these purples here. And some random flower studies using ink and watercolor. And this is another page of swatches from my Lucas Aquarel set. This is another German brand of watercolor paints. I love them because they're quite pigmented. They are actually artist quality paints. And more swatches. So these are from my water soluble supercolor set from Caran d'Ache. And this is from Albert Dürer, the Museum Aquarel. It's supposed to be, they say, the highest quality when it comes to water soluble colored pencils. Well, I guess so, but I really haven't used it that much yet, so I really can't tell. And more swatches from cheaper brands, which is Stedler and Derwent, and even the Lyra brand, which is also a German brand, I believe. And then here is just a random page from my imagination. I really don't know what to paint, so I just went off. Paint something quite flat, I would say, but I think I'm quite satisfied with how it turned out. It's like obviously not real. And here is like some polluted city from my head. So you can see there's some water here, some green buildings, and I suppose it would be some a little boat, some trees over here in the foreground, some ruins over the near the water. For some reason, I love to paint skylines, even though it's not real. So more swatches using my Japanese colored pens. White flowers study. It didn't turn out to be so great, but as you can see, these are using colored pencils and these are watercolors. And the other side is like more swatches from my colored pens. And here, using my Cretacolor and Gouache, I tried to make some patterns. On the other side is like a beach scene. This is from my imagination. I like the way the water folded. It looks a bit unreal. Obviously, it's not real because I took it out from my head. And I was using the creamer set, using my cobalt blue, raw sienna, cobalt blue dark. So they actually give a lot of color ranges, including gray, which is the one I use here in the foreground for my rocks. And this is a scene from my husband's town. This is one of the coast, and the sand is darker where he is from. This is facing the Gulf, the southern part of the country. If you're curious, I'm from the Philippines. And then as you can see, there's some glow here of orange because the sun was setting when we visited the beach. On the other page is a scene that I painted off from an Instagrammer, which happens to be another artist. Her name is Valerie Chua Art. She is also a very good painter. I'm not saying that. I mean, she's a really good painter from the Philippines. So I was using Supercolor and ink to create this piece. More practice using my cheaper paints. And this is using gouache. I did have some Pibeo gouache in tubes. And I tried to experiment. And I also used some inks and white pens. On the other side, I tried to create some grays and browns using the primary colors that I have. Plus, I got one convenient green. Who loves convenient colors? And this is a painting using my Gensai Tambi. These are roses. I think I used about 4 colors for this. It's just a quick, loose watercolor painting. And here's my cat. Well, I call her my cat because after she had an accident, she actually broke one of her legs. And that time she was very close to me while she was recovering. And I do hope she's still okay. And these are some botanicals that I tried using my Gensai Tambi paints from Koritake, if you're wondering, and then Albrecht Dürer and Supercolor colored pencils. I do like to mix media to achieve what I want. These are aqua flowers from Germany that I saw in the neighborhood. There was a flower shop just beside my hotel, so it was really nice waking up in the morning, walking past this shop and seeing these beautiful flowers. And here's another page of botanical art. This was painted off from a photo by this Instagrammer with the handle Silver Pebble 2. She's an artist and she loves to take photos of flowers in particular and paint them as well. So this is just a random sketch. There is no symmetry here. Obviously, I just wanted to experiment with the colors that I have from my Supercolor set. And this is an attempt of a portrait using my Holbein. So there are some hard edges, but I think turned out okay, I guess, but my eyes are too dark. And here's another swatch from some of my Schminke tube paints. I did get some Morellian just to see how it mixes with like some Payne's Gray. green. More swatches on this side. Just want to see how to make purples. And these flowers I painted off from a photo that I took in Berlin. It was spring and they were selling flowers on the street, so I would believe these are like pink daisies if I'm not wrong. And this is a photo, I mean a painting of a rose, which is actually obviously from a photo. I love to take photos of flowers. I have tons of photos of them, but I guess don't have much time to really sit down and paint them. Now this is not original. I got it from the internet. I just copied the succulents because I want to practice how to do it. Though I'm not really certain if I'm a succulents kind of person. And as you can see, there's some bit of gold in here. I was using my Gensai Tembi paints. Obviously an unfinished piece. And another swatch of my Koretake set. And this is from last October. I wanted to paint some autumn leaves, so there is no autumn anywhere near me right now. I mean where I live. So these are just random shapes of leaves that I could think of, and I was using some orange and some dark greens, browns. Here's just a normal calligraphy practice from my Sakura matte watercolor paints. These are like student grade paints. And this is using my Gensai Tembi. I wanted to study some cloud formations just from the neighborhood. Yeah, this is just a random visual practice. And these are Shinhan paints. These are paints from Korea. Though I didn't really buy them from Korea, I just bought it from the local shop. I like to mix the colors and see how they end up together. So I do have beautiful purples out of these, and blues and greens, and these are the colors that I got. And this is a more recent one. I used some of my pastel. I used to paint with pastel when I was much younger. These are an older set, the one that I got a few years back, and recently I got a pit set from Faber-Castell. I don't really know how to use them that much anymore, so I need to do a lot more study, but I'm not really sure I'm gonna go in this direction because I'm loving water soluble pigments right now. And most recently is Botanical art using the Derwent Grafton set. So I got 3 colors for this, and these are like blueberries, I suppose. Yeah. And these are grapes. Yeah, green grapes. So hopefully your weekend is gonna be great. I still got a lot of pages to fill, but I'm not gonna fill them anytime soon. And some loose pages in the end. This is a scene from southern part of my country. So the sun is just beautiful. I miss this place. And this is just an unfinished landscape artwork. I don't think I'm gonna finish it anytime soon, or maybe forever. So have a great weekend, everyone.